Hello everybody, good afternoon again and welcome to That's Football. We're live for the 3 o'clock kickoffs featured Chelsea against Southampton. Hope you're all doing well. What a game it was between Arsenal and Aston Villa. Fantastic result for Arsenal. Disappointing for Aston Villa, of course, but we go straight into some very exciting 3 o'clock games. Keep us up to date with what you're watching. Obviously, we will keep you up to date with what's going on as well. But we will feature Chelsea against Southampton. You can see the teams going round on our stats carousel. Top left-hand corner, scan the QR code to download One Football for free, or go through the link in the video description. And it's free to download. It's available on Apple and Android. Get all your latest breaking news and stats. Chelsea got to win this game today. I've been a big defender of giving time to Graham Potter. Don't worry, I'm not going to pause in between everything I say today. I have been a big advocate of that, and I think that is important. But also, I don't think it's excusable not to go and win a game like this today. So I think it's very important that Chelsea do go and win. What do you have for your lunch? I basically, and look, this is fantastic as well to see that Chelsea and the crowd are paying tribute to Christian Atsu. Tragic news coming out of Turkey. I think he's formerly at Chelsea and Newcastle, wasn't he? And they've got a picture of him, and everyone's in there, applauding and remembering him. Tragic story. There was that story that he'd actually been pulled out of the wreckage and the rubble a few days ago, but obviously that's not the case, and he's been confirmed as as somebody that passed away in those horrible tragedy in Turkey and Syria. Over 45,000 people have died, which is just tragic. And I hope that we all can play our part over the coming days and weeks and months in supporting that area of the world, in rebuilding their communities and lives, because so many have been lost and ruined. We're back, aren't we? That's what we're here to do. So let me just reset the clock here. Chelsea against Southampton is what we're going to be featuring around the stats and everything like that. However, like I said, there are other games going on, and we'll certainly keep you up to date with that. If you're watching a different game, that would be great. If you're in the chat, let us know. Some of you might be watching the Everton game against Leeds, and some of you might be watching the Wolves game or the Fulham-Brighton game, which I think is really intriguing as well. So I'm just hoping that the Premier League weekend continues in the same vein as what we've seen over the last few weeks, and certainly the Arsenal Villa game as well, where we've got this fantastic league. The Super League is the Premier League, and hopefully it can offer up another great day today. Remember, tonight on YouTube, I will be live at 7:30 on the TalkSport YouTube channel for an hour and a half, the Mark Goldbridge show, where people can call in and have their say. Fantastic. Matthew said, someone said on Twitter that it should have been Rashford. Someone on Twitter said something vile. What a surprise, Just it is what it is. I remember it in the early days of doing the United Stand. A fellow United YouTuber. I woke up in the morning on Christmas Day. My kids had just opened up the presents, and someone sent me a screenshot of them saying, woke up on Christmas Day morning, had hoped Goldbridge would be dead. Oh, well, he'll be next year. And they try and write that off as a joke. Yeah, it was hilarious. I loved receiving that on Christmas Day morning, seeing my smiling face of my children open up their presents and then getting a screenshot of an idiot wishing I was dead. That's Twitter for you. What did I eat, Gaz? I had a lovely bowl of mini shredded wheats. So that's what I have. That's what I had. Hi Mark, would you take Ward-Prowse at United? Well, I would have liked Ward-Prowse, but then I saw something on TikTok the other day where Ward-Prowse was stood there and had to choose between different players, and one of them was Scholes and Alonso, and he went for Alonso, and I thought, piss off! I don't ever want you at United. If that's your ball knowledge, no wonder you play for Southampton. Real Beats Music is not right with the name, if anyone wants to know. Look, sits there and does content with Rio Ferdinand. But, vile. Absolutely vile thing to say. But look, I mean, it was years ago. It's well known, and, an apology would have been nice, but apparently it was a joke. and we move on. It was a long time ago. I'm not interested in YouTube beefs. It's 2023, not 2017. But the point was going back to someone saying that about Rashford in relation to Atsu. There are people out there that probably think they are doing a joke, actually. They probably do think they're doing a joke, but it's not a joke because it's offensively vile. US bid, Mark. US investment fund giant Elliott has made a last-minute bid for Manchester United, says Jeff. Where's this? I am watching the game. It's not 0-0 at the moment, but Southampton have just nearly scored. Bloody hell. Chelsea a bit all over the place there, which is unlike Chelsea because defensively they're normally quite good. But I'll tell you what, if Chelsea don't beat Southampton today, I would say that Potter is in trouble. I'm just going to check this United stuff as well. Thanks everyone who's tuning in, by the way. Make sure you subscribe to That's Football. You're all welcome. There's a big cyclone coming, says the Red Cop channel. Is that something to do with Liverpool or is it real? There's a big chance for Southampton there. And Chelsea looking a little bit ragged. I didn't actually have time because I was a little bit late coming through to you. But it's 0-0 in all the games. Brentford are playing Palace. Brighton are playing Fulham. Chelsea, Southampton. Everton, Leeds. Forest, Man City. Wolves, Bournemouth. Absolutely cracking afternoon of football to keep you all updated with. Chelsea are 0-0 at the moment. But Southampton did have a really big chance. Koulibaly's just injured somebody. Team news is as follows. The lineup for Chelsea, Azpilicueta is on the right back position. Kepa in goal. Koulibaly, Badiashile and Chilwell. Kovacic and Fernandes. I expect Chelsea to win today because I think that midfield five of Kovacic, Enzo Fernandez, Madueke, João Felix, Mount, and then Fofana up front. Is this not what Chelsea fans have wanted to see? Havertz on the bench at last. Interestingly, Thiago Silva not available. I don't know whether he's got an injury. That's always a big loss. But surely, Reece James injured again as well, which is a big loss as well. But surely this is getting closer and closer to a Chelsea side that the Chelsea fans want to see. So hopefully there'll be a good result there for them. But also Southampton, who knows what they could do. Thiago Silva's been rested, says Darren. Have you got a game midweek? Khalid says the American hedge fund giant Elliott has entered the $5 billion bidding battle for Manchester United in an extraordinary 11th hour swoop. And that's from the Times. I don't know anything about this American hedge fund Elliott. I'm going to start doing a bit of a Google search while we're live here. But keep us up to date in the chat. What's happening? I'll tell you what. Elliott Investment Management is an American investment management firm. It's also one of the largest activist funds in the world. Okay. It is the management affiliate of American hedge funds, Elliott Associates and Elliott International. Paul Singer, who is the CEO of the management company based in New York, as the first quarter, Elliott's portfolio was worth $8 billion. I don't know. I mean, they're just an investment company, aren't they? Really? I mean, do you want that? Solar projects in the UK, Samsung. AT&T, Energy Future Holdings. This is people that they've invested in. Waterstones, the book. AC Milan. Elliott Management was confirmed as the official proprietor of Italian football club with 99.93% of the stakes of the club. They sold the club in June 2022. Doesn't look good, that does it? I don't know. I mean, as a very skim, doesn't look like a great opportunity for Manchester United, that. I don't mind that they're American. That's not the problem. I just don't know that an equity investment group is what you want for United. Would they give the Glazers something? Yeah, an initial look, it doesn't look great, that does it? But I mean, look, some people in the chat might know. A11 says Elliott is terrible. They aren't good. They buy cheap and buy young players and sell later. Not good at all. I think this... let's have a quick look at Chelsea here, just passing the ball around the back four. No goals in any of the other games. Look at the chat. Super chat from Warrior. Thank you very much. Didn't say anything. I will say something. Thank you very much for your super chat, Warrior. What's your opinion on what Neville has said about Arsenal, says Louis? I don't know what he said. I know he said something about them finishing third, which I don't agree with. I think Arsenal deserve a lot of credit. I think they've had they are where they deserve to be. They've had a little bit of a waddle, and maybe that result today will be a temporary fix, or maybe it'll be a solution. If they can get Thomas Partey back and they can get Jesus back, I think they'll go on some good results. Southampton have been very good so far. Obviously, no manager bounce. This can be a problem. We had this. United had this, actually. Chelsea fans beware. We had this at Old Trafford. Leeds sacked Jesse Marsh, came to Old Trafford, and were like bloody prime Barcelona. It was like a FIFA script. They were unbelievable. And Chelsea could face that problem themselves today. Brentford almost scored, says Akanesh. Thank you very much. Ty says that Chelsea do need to change their manager. Everton got the new manager bounce versus Arsenal, says D Savage. They've started off well here, Southampton. No doubts about it. Aston Villa as well. I've never been to North Bonio, Edward. What did I have for grub? Mini shredded wheats. Not shreddies, mini shredded wheats. Leeds Everton's a massive game. Absolutely massive. I would love Forest to beat City, but I don't think that will happen. Harry says Potter's got to go. He can't manage a big club. Best striker in the Premier League? Well, it's Kane or Haaland, isn't it? Do a poll. It is. I can't think of anyone else who's better than those two. Haaland, Kane. As I said before, I think Kane's overall game is better than Haaland. It is. How was the Arsenal game? I missed it, says DC. It's very, very good. For a 12:30 kickoff, it was very, very good. Everton are looking good, says Miles. It is funny, actually. Nottingham Forest against Man City today. For all their success, Nottingham Forest have got two things that Man City don't, which is European Cups. Same with Aston Villa. They've got one. Please subscribe to the channel, by the way. Bottom right-hand corner. We're only 300 away from 908,000. Get involved with That's Football. You're all very, very welcome. Southampton are dominating Chelsea, says Jay. They've certainly got the energy. They have. Neymar to Chelsea. I've not heard anything about that at all. Honestly, not heard anything. Wrexham are winning 1-0. Boo. Thanks for that, Jack. You're just a Welsh Man City. Welsh Man City. You're just a Welsh Man City. City got 92% possession so far. Notts County are winning, says Charlie. Up the county. That's a better result. Man City will win that game, no problem. Chelsea are on the attack here. And first real chance. Good save by the keeper, goes out for a corner. I'd rather be Welsh than support Man City, says Newport. Why don't I like Wrexham? I don't dislike Wrexham. I don't find their story fantastic and fantasy. Everyone seems to think. Everyone goes, "Oh, Wrexham, what a great story! Oh, it's fantastic. What a great story! Oh, what a great story!" Non-league club gets bought by multi-millionaires who've got loads and loads and loads of contacts with big brands. I mean, non-league clubs going to walk the non-league, isn't it? It's not. It's great. It's great for Wrexham, and it's great for. I think the long-term vision's great for Wrexham. You know, get them in the Premier League. That's when it becomes interesting. But I don't think it's exciting watching Wrexham dominate a league where no one, people can probably barely afford a cup of tea, and there they are, sponsored by bloody TikTok. They are a Man City of non-league. Some people find that exciting. It's great if you're from Wrexham. I get it. I totally do. But as an outsider, I don't really see it as exciting, to be honest. Giannos, you're not blocked. You're just not interesting yet. You're right. King says that's a rubbish take. Well, it's not a rubbish take. It's my take. You might not like it, but it's my take, and it comes from complete and utter honesty. What's exciting about a non-league club having way more money and way more resources than everybody else in the league? It's the same as Man City winning the league, isn't it? They've got way more resources and way more money than everybody else. It's not. I don't think that makes anything exciting. It's exciting for the fans, but I don't think it's exciting for anybody else. I don't know why people have a problem with that. I'm not saying that if you're a Wrexham fan, don't enjoy it. Of course you are. It's like winning the lottery. People get really offended by it. Why do I have to say, oh, it's amazing what's happening to Wrexham? I think it's one of the best things that's happened to football. I think it's great for people in Wrexham or people who support Wrexham, but basically, it's a cheat code. You've won the lottery. Well done. I don't think it's exciting. I think it's inevitable. You could argue, well, is that not what's going to happen with Man United with Qatar? Well, yeah. Well, then it's exciting for Man United, isn't it? But I don't expect everyone to go, oh, it's great what's happening to Man United getting bought by Qatar. I'm really pleased for him. I bet Goldbridge is. Oh, I've always liked Goldbridge, and you know what? He could do with some luck. I'm really glad that Man United are now owned by Qatar and can potentially win everything. You know what? It's great for football. It's a fantastic thing to happen. It's just it's the bloody same. It's great if you're a United fan. It's great if you're a Wrexham fan. Hello, Mark. Hope you're doing well. Delo or Aaron Wan-Bissaka for the second leg against Barca. I think he'll go with Wan-Bissaka or Habby. I can't believe we've not had any goals in the Premier League yet. Still 0-0 after 17 minutes. What's going on? Premier League's gone boring. Got to have your own opinion. That's what good about football is, having your own opinion, and it's not exciting for everyone else. Facts, says Football 123. Everybody has to have an opinion. You're right. Make sure you subscribe. That's what it's all about on That's Football. Bottom right-hand corner. People, Mark, your opinion on people saying you're an Arsenal fan on Twitter. Oh, what? I don't know. I don't. What's that all about? Because I watched a game of football and enjoyed it. Oh, I'm an Arsenal fan now. I mean, I've literally had 7 years of taking the piss out of Arsenal. I mean, I'm suddenly an Arsenal fan. It's just ridiculous. Ridiculous. This twatter, exactly, Will. There's just people out there who've just got no lives. They've got no life at all, have they? Absolutely got no life at all. Well, I'm an Arsenal fan then. I wasn't even born in London. At least the Forest fan makes sense. I was born in Nottingham. But I'm an Arsenal fan now because of what? Best centre-back in the Prem, Mark. I tell you what, seriously, Varane, Thiago Silva. They're probably my two. I would have put Saliba up there, but I think he's gone a bit shaky recently, hasn't he? Still 0-0 in every single game. Just reading this about from the Times. US investment fund giant Elliott has made a last-minute bid for Man United. Details of its proposal is yet unclear, but could involve Elliott taking a stake in the club, providing debt funding or a mix of the two. The former owner of Italian club, which manages 56 billion in assets, is thought to have lodged a late proposal just before Friday's deadline for the first round of bids. That, to me, looks like keep the Glazers in. That might be to keep the Glazers, which everyone will want that one to win who's not a United fan. We don't want a hedge fund anyway. No way. Still 0-0 in all the games, apart from Arsenal Villa, which is finished 4-2. Southampton have done well here so far. This is the last time I do 3 o'clock games. It's meant to be bloody good. Where's all the goals? Where's all the bloody goals? They've used them up. Used them up in the bloody Arsenal game. Forest have got 4% possession at the moment, says Kite. I'm not doing the Liverpool watch-along. I will keep an eye on it, but because I'm on the Talk Sport at 7:30, I have to do a bit of prep for the show and stuff and get a bit of food. So it's just not viable to do a 5:30 kickoff for me today. Haaland would suit United way more, says Umar. Keep the questions coming in. On our first poll of the day, who is the best striker in the Premier League? Erling Haaland got 68% of the vote and Harry Kane 32% of the vote. Who's that? There's a screen here of a player, right? I don't know who it is. I don't recognise them, right? At the Chelsea game, it's got like a cream top on, yeah? On his phone, yawning and barely watching the game. Oh, what a great signing that is. Must be bloody interesting, that. Assuming it is a player, it might just be someone's son, I don't know. As a Qatari, I feel that everyone is quick to judge us on the accusations and stereotypes. I feel no one is making the effort to actually acknowledge the positive and only looking at the negatives. Thanks, AMK. And Mark, if Ten Hag was never an option for United, would you take Potter? No, I wouldn't have took Potter at Man United. Oh, it's Santos of Chelsea. Oh, well, he looks bloody interested. He looked really interested. On his phone, yawning. Can't blame him, Mark, says Ellis. Well, yeah, it's not been a great game. Counter-attacks are part of United history, says Umar. Do I think Qatar will win the bid for Man United? I haven't got a bloody clue, mate. I mean, it's up to the Glazers, isn't it? They've got no... I think people are getting confused about what's best for United. That doesn't matter. It's what's best for the Glazers. Thoughts on Millwall and Teddy Sheringham? Well, I remember Teddy Sheringham playing for Millwall as I was a kid. So I remember Sheringham at Millwall. I think he played for Millwall at the same time as Neil Ruddock. They were a tough team. But Sheringham's, obviously well remembered by United fans, especially that 99 season. Thanks for the show, Goldbridge. Says Jim White. He's on the road to Seattle. I don't think it's the Jim White. Are you an Audi driver? That was rubbish. I sound like a bloody farmer there. Audi driver, are you? Are you a tractor? Combine harvester, I see. Jim White, Slow Sports News. Audi driver. Crunchy nut cornflakes. Yellow tie. Yeah, Chelsea struggling to get to grips with this game at the moment. And as I said, I do believe that Potter has to be given time. But you cannot not beat Southampton at home and get away with it. Do you think Solskjaer wins the league under the Qataris? Says Umar. Okay. Umar, I'm going to start ignoring you now. You've had 2 in a row. Jack says, I'm not a Chelsea fan, but I hope he stays forever. We've got a goal somewhere. We've got a goal coming in somewhere. I don't know where. I saw a word goal came in. Oh, I don't know where it is. Oh, I think I've been scammed there. No goal. No goal. No goal, no goal. Arbroath have scored. That was it. That was the one. Premier League, we've got 25 minutes and no goals so far. I mean, I think, you know what, I have not, as much as I think you've got to give Potter time, I can't confess that I watch Chelsea a lot. They are very, very compact. They don't concede many goals. I think in the last 5 Premier League games, they've only conceded 1. But of course, they don't score goals either. And that's the big problem. We have got a goal for Brighton. Oh, no, we haven't. We've got a goal for Forest, apparently. Oh, no. This is all... I won't even believe that. Absolutely will not believe that. Do I look like a prat? I'm not getting scammed by that. Mark, are you one of the mystery bidders for Man United? Says John. Yep. Silent bid. How is it 0-0 in all the matches? Says Akinish. Well, the Chelsea game is on hold at the moment because there's an injury to a Chelsea player. Thoughts on what Carricky's doing at Borough? Says Rayan. Oh, he's doing a good job. He's doing a good job. You know, I'm not gonna lie about that. 2 pints of lager and a packet of crisps, Mark. I never really watched that. I love me some wood, says Leandis. Chelsea expect Potter to make them play like Brighton with 32 first-team players. Don't think they ask him before signing players, to be honest, says Janos. I think it's a problem for Chelsea if they don't win this game today. But also, I would say that no pre-season's a big problem for any manager that plays a certain brand of football. We saw it with Ranić last year. You need a pre-season with these players. Mark, would you take the chance to come to Qatar and see for yourself? For example, United come to Qatar in the summer in the future if we win the bid. I'm happy to come and have a look. If we get, I am happy to come. You know, I'm off to the States in the summer. We're on tour there, so. You know, as I said this morning, I've got no say in who's going to be United's new owner, and I'm not walking away from football. So if that's what's going to happen, that's what's going to happen, isn't it? Timothy says, predictions for the Liverpool game. It's my first ever super chat. Shout out for Timothy. Welcome to the club. Liverpool have got to win that. I think it'll be a draw. I think it'll be like 1-1 or something. Yeah. I don't think Newcastle will give up those points easy, because they know if they do, they're opening the door, aren't they? I mean, if you look at the league table as it stands right now, Liverpool have got 32 points, played 21 games. Newcastle have played 41 points, played 22 games. Liverpool win 35 points, and they still have a game in hand. They're 6 points behind Newcastle with the game in hand. It's suddenly game on. Newcastle can keep a draw. Side netting there from Aspilicueta. He should have cut that back. It changes the game, doesn't it? Did you really slide tackle the old lady because she nutmegged you, says Rob? No comment. Look, football's football. You know, people want equal rights. If the tackle's there to be made, you've got to make it. You can't think about, that's what people want. If you walk onto the football pitch, you walk into the theatre of doom, the Thunderdome. If a tackle's there to be won, you go and win it. You know, I've played the game. I get injured if I play at 80%. You know, if I go into a tackle and not meaning it, I get the risk of getting injured. All I'll say is what I said at the time. It was a fair tackle. Mark, thoughts on Greenwood? I'm not talking about that, Jeannie. Slow sports news. Why would I talk about that? Equal rights, equal tackles, says Candy. Thoughts on Brighton or Fulham getting into Europe? Well, I thoughts on somebody in the bloody Premier League scoring a goal. We've had half an hour now. Half an hour and no goals. And we've got how many games? 1, 3, 6. The best league in the world has turned into bloody shite. What's going on? They're all scared to lose. Well, they're all quite tight games, aren't they? I think at the end of the day, like the racing guy says, there's a lot of tight games. You think about it, Brighton and Fulham are close together. Everton and Leeds are close together. Brentford Palace is always going to be quite tight. But somebody said, can you tell us what's going on in the Chelsea-Southampton game? To be honest with you, it's just there's no momentum for either team. It's just very, very, very equal. I'll tell you one thing for free. Chelsea are going to have to work hard. Southampton really are very energetic today. Putting a lot of work in, you know, instigating a high press. And at the moment, Chelsea are struggling to find any rhythm. Would you want a Saints player at Manchester United as that one FIFA guy? I do like Bella Kotchup. I've said that a few times before, but and he is playing today at the back. I do like the look of him. It's very raw, but I think there's a good player there. I don't think he would come to Man United. Ward-Prowse, as I said, he picked Alonso over Scholes, so it's a no from me. Mark, let's end the Super League debate by returning the Premier League to the Super League like the women's top division in England. What do you think? Says ZT. It'd be funny if they rebranded the Premier League as the Super League, wouldn't they? That would be properly hilarious. I would enjoy that. Joe says there's a goal at Peterborough and your mum's just scored. Still got it. Do I think Southampton will stay up? No. Although they've played quite well so far. Are you 100% sure Jude will come to Liverpool, says Tommy? I'm not 100% sure he's going to go to Liverpool. I don't know why he wouldn't wait and come to United. We've got a spot in the midfield for him, as have Liverpool, of course. But we're a club on the rise, probably going to be very wealthy. But a lot of Liverpool fans I know are very, very confident that he's going to go there, almost to the extent that he's agreed to go there. So You know, Liverpool fans don't normally behave like that either. So, you know, it wouldn't surprise me if that's where he is going to go. Everton should be 2-0 up, says Joel. Wolves are dominating, says Upper Trash. 0 goals so far, and we're nearly 35 minutes in. It's interesting. But Southampton have played well. Look at the stats. Look at the stats on the screen. They can't lie. I think Chelsea fans will... I think this will be the result. I mean, look at that. They've had more possession than Chelsea at home. 53% possession. That, I mean, whatever you say about Potter, and I like what he did at Brighton, that ain't what he did at Brighton. You know, Chelsea are not replicating what he did at Brighton. Nitin says that Potter's facing the same issues Rangnick faced after taking over the lazy team, which can't press for their life. Yes, this is what I'm talking about, and people don't want to have this conversation. Cold, harsh facts are that it's very hard when you play a certain way. Forest are playing well, says Ivan. It's very hard when you play a certain way to go into a club without a pre-season with a team that doesn't want to play that way. You are up against it, and obviously that's what's going on here at the moment. They're struggling a little bit, but they're certainly not playing the way that Chelsea normally play, the way Brighton normally play. I mean, Southampton having more possession at home after half an hour is interesting. That's a tackle. He tackled the bloody ball, João Felix there. This referee. How can you give a foul for that when he clearly got the ball? Man City will break them down at some point. Pradjit says, I'm gutted that Arsenal won. Arteta out. Wrexham apparently 2-0 up. China, thanks very much for the super chat. Potter clearly set Chelsea up to play on the counter today at home against 20th place Southampton. That's on Potter, says Max. Well, look, I'm not a Chelsea fan, so it doesn't massively matter to me. But I said it before the game and I'll say it now. There is no way in any development that you're going to get away with losing or drawing at home to Southampton. If you win and you play badly, at least you win. But he's got to win this game. Klopp is the big draw for Jude to Liverpool. The main reason why he'd come here even if we aren't in the Champions League, says Pranav. And refs need a contract with Specsavers this season, says Football 123. Cassidy says, Mark, how good were you at football? Also thoughts on Australia? Well, I've never been to Australia, so I can't have any thoughts on it, but I do like Neighbours, and I did used to watch Home and Away. How good was I at football? Pretty good. Pretty good. I mean, but I'd say there's thousands of people that were as good as me. I didn't make it as a pro, so... but two-footed, good passing range, decent shot. In my younger days, I could dribble, read the game quite well. Probably just a standard good player, of which there are many out there. Ever heard of Malta, Mark? Says Nick. I'm coming to Malta. I think I'm doing a show in Malta. Mark, any movements to end the 3 p.m. blackout? It's ridiculous. You have no access to live games in your country, but I can watch in the US. Nah, farting pigeon. No. We've had a goal for absolutely no one, says someone in the chat there. Chelsea have only scored 4 goals in their last 9 games, says Tej. I can't believe we've had no goals in 6 games. I'm going to do a tweet that will make people laugh. At Mark Goldbridge. At Mark Goldbridge. As first reported, sources close to hedge fund Elliott, former owner, confirmed the American firm has offered to provide the financing for a bid. A full taker of the club has been ruled out. Oh, they're going to finance a bid. Oh, okay. They're going to back another party that wants to bid. So they're going to finance a bid. Nah, don't want that either. Don't want that either. Yeah, still 0-0 in every bloody game. This is the last time I do the 3pms. Even my jinx powers aren't working on Twitter. They always work. Chelsea coming down the left-hand side. Madueke. Southampton with plenty of numbers back. Kovacic. It's just... you know what, from Southampton, it's a good performance so far. They're getting loads of people behind the ball, and then when Chelsea have the ball in their half, they're instigating the press. Score prediction, based on this, I'd probably say Chelsea win it 1-0. Everton are all over Leeds, says Goris. No American investment allowed. Blazers out, says Caleb. Nottingham are not making it easy for City, says Ryan. The trouble is it only takes one goal for Man City. They've got 90 minutes. They've got, 90% possession? They only need one goal and then the plan's over, isn't it? 89% possession for Man City, says Corkin. Harry Potter out, says Soup. Thoughts on Badashil, says Daniel. I like Badashil. He was a player that was linked to United probably 3 or 4 years ago. Maybe not that long ago. Maybe 3 years ago. Maybe 2 years ago. But probably 3 years ago. And I thought he was worth a punt. We needed a we needed a left-footed centre back. Obviously we've got Martinez now, but I thought it was worth a punt. And I think he'll grow into being a good centre back for them. Bit greedy from Madueke there. Shooting when he's got runners he can slip in. I've got to say though, I do find some of Chelsea's signings odd. I can't imagine Graham Potter saying, "But yeah, get me Mudryk, get me Madueke." I just can't imagine it, but maybe I'm wrong. It's 0-0, Nimbo, in everything. In the Prem. Got a goal for City. Surprise, surprise. Bernardo Silva opens up the scoring. And that's game over there. That's the Forest game plan down the road. And Man City score. I mean, I don't think Arsenal are expecting Man City to drop any points today. Forest are pretty crap. And Bernardo Silva has opened up the score. And that will be game over. Because their game plan would have been a 0-0 draw. But we've got a goal and it's from Man City. Southampton just shoot over the bar. Lance says it was a screamer for Bernardo Silva. A good finish, says Pedro. Mint goal too, says Bath. And that will be game over there. I mean, it's the most simple result of the weekend to predict. There may be some shocks, but there was never going to be a shock. At the City ground, it was always going to be City's ground today. Would I take Rafinha at United? Yeah, I'd have took Rafinha at United when he was at Leeds, so... Everton and Leeds is getting spicy, says Daniel. Let's have a look at the Man City team, actually, for today. What's his team he's gone with? Because you never know with Pep, do you? So he's lined up with Ederson, Laporte, Diaz, Walker, Bernardo Silva and Rodri, Gundogan, De Bruyne, Grealish and Foden, and Haaland. I mean, he's picking this team at the moment, isn't he, where he gets loads of attackers on the pitch. So he picks De Bruyne, Grealish, Foden and Bernardo Silva. Mahrez on the bench. The only goal out of 6 games at half-time looks like being Bernardo Silva. Who do you reckon will win between Liverpool or Newcastle? I think it'll be a draw, Ivan. As I said, Liverpool win and they're 6 points behind Newcastle with the game in hand. That puts a lot of pressure on Newcastle's top 4 hopes. A draw keeps it at 9 points with the game in hand. So, and Newcastle don't lose many games, do they? They've got the Carabao Cup next week. So I don't think Newcastle. I mean, you could, in fact, at St James's Park, you could quite easily see Arsenal. You could quite easily see Newcastle getting a result better than a draw. But I don't think Liverpool will win. I'd go with a draw. Al Ale says Mason Mount wants 250 grand a week and plays like this. I don't know what's happened to Mason Mount. I really don't. Eamon says you were right. Forest should have taken the weekend off. I think this league is competitive, but there's certain games that Man City play that you just know they're going to win. Because Man City are on a different level to everybody else. They've got, Jack Grealish is starting games now, but he was a bit of a bench player, 100 million quid. Calvin Phillips on the bench all the time, 60 million quid. When you're spending 60 million pounds for a player that doesn't even just sits on your bench, they've got they're on a completely different level to everybody else. And I think Forest beat Liverpool. They're capable of getting a result against everybody, but I think Man City, when Man City play Southampton, Forest, Bournemouth, it's boring. You know they're going to win. No, and then you get Finn saying, but Spurs beat City. But I didn't mention Spurs. I said, if Spurs were playing Forest, I wouldn't be 100% sure they were going to win. But when Man City play those teams down the bottom, it's inevitable. Apparently we've got a goal at Southampton, and it's Ward-Prowse. This ain't good news for Potter. This ain't good news for Potter. It's a free kick for James Ward-Prowse, and he's put it in from the edge of the box. Kepa's beaten, and Potter is in trouble here because they are losing to Southampton, and you would hardly say that it wasn't deserved. 1-0 Southampton at Stamford Bridge with an assistant coach. Potter is in trouble. You can't lose these types of game. You can't lose these types of game. You can't even draw these types of game. When you're at Chelsea, it can't happen. Now Ward-Prowse is the master of free kicks. Kepa's at full stretch. I don't think you can blame the keeper, but you can certainly blame Chelsea's performance in the first half and say it ain't been good enough. It's been far from good enough. You're at home, not really created any chances, and Southampton have been the better side. Mark, why do all the best players go to La Liga, says Miata? Can you give me an example of what best players are playing in La Liga then, please? Last time I checked, Erling Haaland was wearing a Man City shirt, you see. Chelsea don't work hard enough when they have to win the ball back quickly, says DK. You do wonder whether these... I mean, look, it's no excuse for any manager, but you do wonder whether some of these players are actually working for the manager. And that, I can say give him time, you can say give him time, but if the players aren't working for the manager, then it doesn't matter how much time he should get. Qatar retracted their bid when they realised Phil Jones was still on the books. Even the Middle East fear him, says Michael T. Thanks for the super chat, pal. People forget how bad things looked for Ten Hag after losing the first 2 games and then having Liverpool for the 3rd game. I'm shocked how much things have turned since then, says Billy Smith. Thank you, Billy. And Manchester United Club says these players don't care for Potter. Said it before, Potter is incompetent. Well, I think that's a bit harsh, mate. I mean, he's consistently been very good at Brighton. He's a very, very good coach. You can say that the players don't fancy him, but I don't think there's any evidence that he's a bad coach. You can say that Chelsea job's too big for him. I mean, I remember actually, fair point, I remember this being asked of me on the United stand probably 18 months ago when we were looking at a manager, and some people were saying, oh, I'd love Potter at Man United. And I said, look, there's no doubt Potter's a good coach, but could you imagine bringing Potter in and having Cristiano Ronaldo? Like, Graham Potter, hello, I've managed Brighton. Yeah, well, I've won it all. That's something you can't account for. You can be a big fish in a small pond, but can you be a big fish in a big pond or sea or ocean? It's like Jack Grealish, isn't it, from Aston Villa? Aston Villa, he was the focal point of the team. He was a big fish in a big pond, in a small pond, and then he goes to Man City, and it's a different level. Players were playing for Arteta. Potter looks lost, says English Talent FC. Yeah. I'm Chris Smalling, says Jar Bar Drinks. The current Chelsea squad are a bunch of nobodies, though, says JT. Rand says Grealish has been good for 2 or 3 months for them now. You do realise how long Jack Grealish has been there, though, mate? He's in his 2nd year. There's definitely been an adjustment process for Jack Grealish compared to how he played at Villa. Potter should run miles with his team to save him, says DC. And Mark, do you want Qatar or Sir Jim, says Warrior? I don't really know. It's half time between Chelsea and Southampton, by the way. Let me stop the clock and reset. Yeah, half time between them. United should think of signing Ward-Prowse, says Mohit. And Potter to Leeds, here we go, says Reese. They're going to struggle here. They're definitely going to struggle to... he's definitely going to struggle, Graham Potter, if he can't beat Southampton at home. Even a draw is not going to be good enough. So 1-0 down at half-time, this is just going to... look, I've done a few videos on this channel saying you've got to give him time. You've got to give him until next season. But I think you can give a manager time when you are drawing or, progressing slightly and maybe the results aren't what you want. But you can't... You're going to always have a problem if you're losing at home to Southampton, who are going to get relegated. That's not about time. That's a question mark. And it's a very big question mark. Why, with all the players we've got, can we not beat Southampton? And that won't be seen as giving time. So, I'd agree with that. The Glazers say they may not sell anymore as the bids they've received so far are short of their opinions of the club's worth. What's your thoughts on that? Says SK. Don't know. I've not heard it. So, yeah. So let me send me this message. Potter should have signed Harry, says Michael T. This many signings and churning out this kind of performance, I'm fine with Potter, but if we're not playing well, the money is spent is useless. Look, Give me your comments. I don't really know what to say. It's my club's doing quite well at the moment, Manchester United, and Arsenal fans are going to be very, very happy. But this is Chelsea in the spotlight. They're 1-0 down to Southampton at half time, and Southampton are a team that's going to get relegated. You can't be losing. And I think the hardest thing to say about this is that if you look at the stats so far. Let's take that and pause that. Okay, so yeah, look at that at half time. Southampton have got more possession than you at home. That's not good enough. They've had more shots than you, and you're at home. I'm sorry, that's not good reading. And that's not me saying it's time to get rid of Potter. But what it is me saying is that I've said you've got to give him time. You've not had a pre-season. There's been a lot of injuries. But I look at that team today and I go, well, your midfield hasn't got Loftus-Cheek in it. It's got Enzo Fernandez and Kovacic. You've got Mudryk, João Felix, Mason Mount and Fofana as a front four. Chilwell is playing. Badiashile is playing. That does not reflect. And you need to win games. That doesn't make any sense to me why Chelsea are not having more possession and not having more shots at home. They look really poor. So there is an issue there, and you've got to improve. Look, it's a 90-minute game. If I'm speaking to them at half time, Mudryk is not playing. He's on the bench. Madueke's playing. Sorry, it's M&M, isn't it? But it's still, Mudryk hasn't really done anything because he's on the bench. Madueke, sorry, has not really done anything. So I think that look, there's still time for Chelsea to turn it around. But if this game finishes in a loss, it's very difficult to, even as an outsider, say, well, look, it's ridiculous that he's getting criticised. There's so much work to do at Chelsea. You can't lose at home to a relegation side. You just cannot do that. You've got to do better. So he will face a lot of pressure. I don't think they're going to sack him. I don't think that's going to happen, and I don't think that should happen. But if you can't beat Southampton at home, then where are your results going to come from? Pochettino would be obvious for Chelsea, says David. Well, look, it's never good when there's a manager available. We had this with Solskjaer and Pochettino a couple of times. Treble Champ says, a cautionary tale for United fans. The issue is the owners at Chelsea, not the players or the staff. And the owners have to give some thought on giving a pre-season to Potter if he can't even get this team to play to win against Southampton, says Speedwagon. Also, can I just say as well, this has got nothing to do with the manager at Chelsea, and we may have Chelsea fans watching, we may not, but it's still a very good observation, even if I say so myself. What plan is your new owners if they come in, spend a couple of £100 million on Tuchel, and then sack him within a month of the window closing, spend £300 million on Potter, and then sack him within a month of the January transfer window closing? That's £500 million spent on players and 2 managers sacked. You're making the job harder every manager you bring in. Because if you did sack Potter and brought Pochettino in next week, which I don't think will happen, but if it did, Pochettino walks in and goes, so I've got Koulibaly, Cucurella, Sterling, and Aubameyang that I can even think of that were Tuchel players. And now I've got Mudryk, João Felix on loan, Enzo Fernandez, Madueke, Fofana, who were Potter's signings. Yeah, and we're going to give you another 300 million. This is a mess. I can't work like this. And you're going to give me 300 million pounds, and then when it doesn't work, you're going to sack me after a month. You're creating a mess. You're creating an absolute mess. And then I've got all the players that were here before. I've got all the players that Tuchel bought that didn't get to use. And then you've got all the players that Potter bought that didn't get to use. And now you're bringing me in. This is chaos. This is absolute chaos. So you've got to look at the way that Chelsea's being run as well, because maybe it will get to a point where they do need to make a manager change, but it won't hide the fact that that would be a third manager in one season with an £500 million spend. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. The dressing room must be miserable, says Red. I don't get it. I don't get it. I think this is the first time I've watched Chelsea properly in a couple of weeks. And when I saw the team news came out, I thought, ooh, That's a good side. It's better than it has looked. And then there's absolutely no cohesion. There's no chemistry. There's no rhythm. And that's always a worry because, some of those players are good players. I've seen Kovacic play well, Enzo Fernandez, João Felix. There's some good players there, but it's just not working. Big man's a Southampton fan. Do you think you'll stay up, Mark? Well, the way you've played today, you might stay up because it's the best I've seen you play in weeks. But how much is that down to how bad Chelsea are? You should have been 1-0 up very early. You're 1-0 up just before half time, and at the moment, you'd almost be disappointed that you're not 2-0 up. Eddie Howe would win the Premier League with Potter's team. Don't agree with that, but there you go. Chelsea doing a bit of a PSG. Well, this is something we've been talking about as United fans for quite a while. It's you've got to look at the ownership model sometimes. PSG, owned by Qatar looking to buy Man United. I've been saying this for the last couple of days. The PSG model's a crap model. It is a crap model. It hasn't worked. It's a Galactico Real Madrid model from the early noughties. That's not the manager buying players. That's the owner buying players. And then they want to win the Champions League. Oh, we're not winning the Champions League. Let's sack another manager. Let's give Mbappe a stupid contract. They're just constructing. They're not constructing a team. They're just spending money. And you've got to have a plan. And a plan must always be led by what the manager wants. The manager picks the team. It's very hard if you're a certain type of manager and, you're being gifted this superstar and that superstar, but they don't fit in. Mourinho could be going back there, says Robert. Would Chelsea go for Poch? I'm obese, says Phil. I'm not going to read your second name either. Wait a minute. So, I've done 5 hours already today. And Harry Potter would do a better job. I overacted a bit there. Tried to rescue myself. Went to put my arm on there and it slipped off like that. And I sort of made it more exaggerated because I was going to hurt my head. Are you still defending Potter, says Callum? Well, I'm a very principled person. I stick to what I think. I stuck by Arteta when people had Arteta out T-shirts. So my history of decisions around managers is quite clear. I wasn't Solskjaer or Mourinho out until quite late. I stuck by Arteta when people were printing T-shirts and saying Arteta out. So I'm not going to turn on Potter at half time. But what I will acknowledge is if they lose tonight, if they lose this afternoon, then he is quite rightly going to get a lot of pressure. I don't think he'll be sacked, but he will get a lot of pressure. I think he's got to have time. I think the club, as I said, if I was the chairman of Chelsea, I would not be looking to sack the manager because it's really embarrassing for me to spend £200 million on Tuchel and sack him and then spend £300 million on Potter and sack him. That reflects on me really, really, really bad. So if I was the owner of Chelsea and if they did lose today, I would be calling Potter in and say, what the bloody hell's going on? This is not acceptable. But I'd also be calling in the players and saying, what's the problem? Why is this not going well? And if somebody had the balls to say to me, we don't respect Potter, we don't think he's a very good coach, I'd say, who do you think you are? He's done a fantastic job at Brighton. That's factual in this league. So what is it about that you have a problem with? Get your fucking kit on and get to bloody work. But unfortunately, some of those players will say, "Or what? I'm on an 8-year contract. I'll see you next year." Mark, you only like Potter because he's from Solihull. Says Kizza. Yeah, but I'm not from Solihull, so you've exposed yourself there. And we'll turn it around, says Noah. Look, ultimately, this next 45 minutes is massive because if he wins, it shuts the haters down, doesn't it? If he loses, it's open season. And if you look at Chelsea's next, it's difficult to do this. They're mid-table Chelsea. You can't go down from mid-table. It's inexcusable. But they've actually got a good run of games coming up. They're at home to Southampton, who are going to get relegated, most people think. They've then got Tottenham away, who are a mess at the moment. Then they've got Leeds at home, who are a mess. And then they've got Dortmund at home, which I think they can win that as well. So they've got 4 games that are very much games that Potter can buy himself a bit of time and a bit of confidence. But, even after that, Leicester away, you'd fancy them. Everton at home, you'd fancy them. Villa at home, you'd fancy them. Wolves away. Brighton at home. On paper, their next tough game is Man United away on the 22nd of April. So there's a run of games for Potter to go and get some momentum. But they've got to do it consistently. And like JGP says, they haven't got a consistent starting 11. And that's a problem, isn't it? I don't know where Reece James and Thiago Silva are today, but can you be resting those players when you're not even playing midweek? Why are players being rested for games when you're not even going to play midweek? It don't make no sense to me. They've got a week off until they play Spurs a week tomorrow. Can't afford to be. They must be injured. You can't afford to be resting players when you're in a weak position. Do you think there might be too many superstars, individuals in that team, similar to the Real Madrid model, but with youth? They need some experience, as Red. Look, they desperately need Kante. Jim says they're injured, you bozo. Well, I don't need to be abused, and 2, I was told by people in the chat at the start that they were being rested. So I'm not a Chelsea fan. I don't follow your injury record meticulously. Road to Dawn says, if they can't beat Southampton at home, why would you fancy them against any decent team? And this is the thing. They've got a good run of fixtures, Road to Dawn, but they're not a good run of fixtures if you can't win. Now, Raheem Sterling's coming on at half-time. And Fofana is coming on at half-time, who is a centre-back. So a couple of changes at half-time. I've got no problem with that. I think, their performance in the first half was terrible. And, you've got to try and make things changing. I don't know who he's brought off. I would imagine he's probably took Fofana off or Madueke off because they did next to nothing. And Aspilicueta's still on, so I think he might have took Koulibaly off. But Fofana did look a bit raw, didn't he? But having said that, he did get on the ball a lot. Hi, says Matwan. Thank you very much. So Tom's not happy about Fofana going off. I mean, I can sort of see what you're saying, Tom. I mean, I didn't notice Madueke in that half. Fofana was on the ball a lot. He was very raw. He was very, all over the place. But ultimately, at least he was getting on the ball. The timer is wrong. I'll sort it. If there was a problem, I'll solve it. Check out the hook and the DJ revolves it. Ice, ice, baby. Bam, 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 bam. Yeah, Koulibaly came off and Fofana came off. I mean, I thought Fofana was a bloody striker anyway. He had him playing on the left wing. So, what can I say? What can I say? Oh, just had a message about my 7:30 show. I really want to get... I mean, look, I don't want to disrupt your Saturday night if you've got plans, but I'm on Talk Sport, which is a national radio station, at 7:30 tonight with my Mark Goldbridge show, which is a call-in, 7:30 till 9 o'clock. It will be live on YouTube. And I'm sure we'll get some United fans calling in, but I really want to get some rival fans calling in. So if you're a Liverpool fan or a Chelsea fan or an Arsenal fan or any fan, I'd love to take your calls on Qatar or whoever buying Man United and what your thoughts are on that. Because I think you do tend to get an interesting take on things from rivals. Sometimes a very honest one, sometimes a very bitter one. But I'm looking forward to that. I really do. I know the producer was just saying there we're expecting a lot of calls about the sale of Man United, and I want to get some calls from rivals. I really, really do. I really do. You know, I do. I really do. I really, really do. I can't lie, I do. I really, really want to get some calls from some rivals. I do. I really do. Southampton are winning. Wolves are actually losing to Bournemouth. We've had a goal from Bournemouth against Wolves. Slow Sports News from Goldbridge there. It's 1-0. It's Tavernier with an assist from Solanke and Bournemouth. I mean, Simon, what's going on in the Premier League today? Bournemouth are beating Wolves and Southampton winning at Chelsea. This Premier League, Simon. Can we have a shout out? We are more Leicester TV. It says Leicester more fan TV. There you go. It's the only gift you're going to get from United this weekend, because we're going to beat you tomorrow. Imagine if Bournemouth beat Wolves. No one's putting that down. Wolves won with 10 men last week. How much is Potter paying you to make excuses, says Aidan. I ain't making any excuses. Sterling's put a good cross in. Oh, you can't miss chances like that. Mason Mount, he's done it on purpose, Lynn. He's done it on purpose. He's missed that on purpose. You can't not score that. Cross by Sterling is good. And Mason Mount, maybe he's been put off by Bella Kotchup, but let's hope to see. Well, let's not hope. Let's hope Chelsea come out and give us a better second half than the first half, because I think the onus is always on the home team, isn't it? Bella Kotchup's a great player, says MCC. Cody says do a Chinese accent. Oh yeah. Yeah, let me just get ready to cancel myself. It is. You know, I've never understood that. Although I know the rules. You can't do it, but you can do a Scottish accent. You can do an English accent. You can do an American accent. You can do an Australian accent. You do a Chinese accent or an Indian accent, you're cancelled. Logically, you should be able to do it because you're just doing an accent. But you can't. I wouldn't do a Jamaican accent either. Although I can do one. Sterling shoots just wide. Really worried about this Elliott bid for Man United. Major concern is how silent they've been and what plan they have. Furthermore, they messed up AC Milan, says the Beast. So, look, if you're interested, Man United up for sale. Qatar are interested. Sir Jim Radcliffe's interested. We've heard this afternoon that there is a bid from the Elliott Investment Fund, which is American, but it's not their bid. They're financing a bid, apparently. Do the Scooby-Doo accent. Shaggy? Scooby-Doo, Scooby-Doo, Skibidi, Skibidi. Oh, I think that's that's the one you wanted me to do. I was doing actual Shaggy. I'm not doing Liverpool Newcastle because I'm on Talk Sport, so I can't do it. Turnaround is too quick. I mean, if you think about it, I've been live since 12:30 and little gap, and then live till 5. I just can't do that. Shaggy. People probably don't know what I'm talking about. It was a dog that talked, Scooby and Shaggy. I'm watching the game. I've played the game and I'm watching the game. It's having a bit of a stretch now. Ooh, I've got chicken burgers for tea. Brighton are looking dangerous. Paul, everybody's about as dangerous as a bloody wooden spoon today. They're blunt. We've had 3 goals in 6 games. Nelly says, I went on a date and she hasn't answered me since. She's not interested. She's not interested. That happened to me once. As surprising as this might sound, I was in a pub and I was about, God knows what age I was, but it was somebody from school, and we weren't at school anymore, probably about 18, and we're in a pub and I saw her and I was like, oh, and she was like really like pleased to see me, and I was like, oh yeah. And actually at school she wasn't even all that, and growing a bit older, it obviously, or might have been the drink. Anyway, she was more attractive than she was at school, and I was like, oh, you should give me a number and we'll go out for a drink. And she was like, oh no, don't worry about it because my dad's really funny about stuff. Give me your number. So I gave her the number. She said, I'll ring you tomorrow and we'll arrange going out. She never bloody rung. I should have realised the minute when I said, can I have your number? And she said, no, can I have yours? But I wasn't that bothered. But the thing that frustrated me is that I was a bit of a sympathy thing. But yeah, there you go. Like Harry says, her loss. I've seen her on Facebook since, and to be honest, it was a lucky escape. Mrs. Goldbridge wouldn't care about this story because it was BG before Goldbridge. If it was AG after Goldbridge, I'd be in trouble. It was a lucky escape, and I had about 10 pints. Oh, good play by Aspilicueta. It's always bloody Aspilicueta. That would annoy me. If I was Chelsea, that would annoy me. It's always bloody Aspilicueta. What's Aspilicueta doing on the left wing? You don't want your chances to fall to Aspilicueta. It has been better from Chelsea this second half, though. I sense there might be a goal. We've got a goal for Brighton. Let's have a look. We've got a goal for Brighton. Is that confirmed? I think it is. Brighton have scored a football goal. Brighton against Fulham. It's offside, says Nick Drops. It's offside. Don't get too excited. It's no goal for Brighton. Offside. Disallowed. Slow sports news. If Arsenal beat Leicester, do we win the league? No, Jerome. That's not how it works. There's still another 15 games to go. How often would you go to the pub when you were younger? Most of your stories are in the pub, and I wish my life was like that, says Neil. Yeah, but you know what, Neil? It's a little bit like this. It's a little bit like this, Neil, because it's a bit like when I was a kid. I used to think I was down the park playing football every day in the summer, and it was really hot. I always look back at the summer as a kid, and it was really hot. But global warming's now, not then. So how does that work? Because we don't get hot sunny days now, do we? So I mean, I probably went to the pub twice a week. I probably did go to the pub twice a week. One night in the week and then one night at the weekend. Like Gaz says, pubs aren't the same anymore. I mean, we used to go down. what pubs have a pool table now? Do you know a pub near you that's got a pool table in it? Just one pool table that everyone plays on. I'm not talking about a place everyone goes and plays pool. One pool table in a pub. Every pub used to have a pool table in it. None of my locals have got in it. I mean, to be honest, I do live in an affluent area. Most of them are wine bars. They wouldn't put up with the riffraff playing pool, but I came from a working class area, and I like a pool table and a dartboard. A pool table and a dartboard and a jukebox. What pub has a jukebox? I tell you what then, everyone's got a pool table in their pub. Solihull does not have pool tables. There is no pub in Solihull that's got a pool table. If anyone's from Solihull and wants to tell me a pub that's got a pool table in it in Solihull, I'll meet you down there at 5 and kick your ass. Open a United Stand pub. It's funny you should say that, Level. I can't say any more. The Goldbridge Inn, sports bar. With me serving pints. That's my retirement. And then I just pour pints and chat about football. It'll be good. I'm not retired yet, no. I'll probably never retire. I've done so many different things in my life. Come on, Chelsea, score a goal. I need to be proved right about Potter. My reputation's on the line here, although I can live off Arteta for years, let's be honest. I can afford a few OGs, can't I? Come on, give me some credit in the chat. Predicting Arteta would turn it around. Not many people did that. I was laughing the other day. Someone sent me a screenshot of an Arsenal fan, right? You know when they lost to Man City? This Arsenal fan had said something along the lines of, if you can't support us when we're losing, don't support us when we're winning. Literally was Arteta out for about 8 months. I was laughing my head off. I was like, oh. What I would give to see 10 Pint Bridge, ask that girl for a number. Thanks for all the hard work on United Stand, says Sean. Goldbridge going into franchising, God help us, says Nelly. Yeah, I think I can live off the Arteta thing for a little bit. I was right about Ten Hag. I mean, that was a bit of that was a bit of an open goal, but not everybody got it. Certainly not the media. Got it completely wrong about Van Dijk. Said he was going to be the Dutch Chris Smalling. I think it's quite fun and character building to get things wrong. You know, some people on TikTok and stuff, they absolutely cannot stand it when they get stuff wrong. Well, there's people in the media as well. I don't mind getting stuff wrong because surely that's the beauty of football, isn't it? Football's so unpredictable. It's like nobody would predict that Bournemouth and Southampton would be winning away after an hour. I think it's good to get stuff wrong, but mostly I'm right. Go stop says I was conceived on a pool table. You'd be surprised. It's actually quite a popular place to shag in the UK within certain class levels. Seamus Coleman for Everton. What a goal! Now, don't be spinning me around here like this is a lie. I need proper facts on this. Is it a goal for Everton? What's your favourite type of goal? Says Ronan. Oh, I tell you what, I love a really good cross with a header. It is a goal for Seamus Coleman. I can confirm it. Everton goal, 1-0. Hi Mark, Potter to United 2024. You heard it here first. Says Marcus McGee. Seamus Coleman, the fact that he's still playing is great. Oh, can't believe it. He must be about 42. Absolutely brilliant. Get in the mud, Leeds. Get the gravel in. Get onto my supplier. We'll have 4 bags tonight. 4 bags. Yeah, I'm celebrating. Saturday night. Get the gravel in. I tell you what, I don't know whether Seamus Coleman means this. Now, does Seamus Coleman mean this? He's running down the wing. He's looking at crossing it. And he goes, I think he does. I think he does. I'm going to do a Twitter poll. Does Coleman mean that? It's an interesting one if you get to see it. Meslier is an interesting goalkeeper, isn't he, as well? Because I think he is a goal. Shameless Coleman, says Bath. He's an interesting one, Meslier, because he's a good goalkeeper, but there is a naivety to him. Mason Mount is coming off for Chelsea. Some might say he never came on. Havertz is coming on. Mudryk is coming on. He's making the changes here. I don't know who else he's took off. Probably Madueke, I would imagine. Too many changes. Too many changes. Aaron's got it right. Meslier's a good goalkeeper. He's just very mistake prone. Madueke went off. Thanks for that, Andreas J. Can't wait for my tea tonight. Chicken burgers and then the Mark Goldbridge show on Talk Sport. Bayern have lost 3-2, says Ryan. Coleman meant it, says Faradon. I mean, to be honest with you, I think that when you've made 4 substitutions after 65 minutes, he's struggling, really struggling to find an 11, isn't he? There's too many checks going on. Too many changes going on. Can Chelsea find a way back? Coleman only costs 60,000 and he's a bargain, says Louis. Haaland's missed a sitter, by the way. That's what's coming from the chat. AJ Flores says Chelsea look lost. Stats and everything have gone. Thanks for that. I wasn't even looking. We'll get it back. There it is. Please do subscribe, by the way. Bottom right-hand corner. You're all very, very welcome. It's free to subscribe. Get involved with That's Football. Potter is looking panicked here. He really, really is. Adil says he's just missed an absolute sitter. Double miss, says Roshin. Crystal Palace have scored. They're 1-0 up. As things stand at the moment, Crystal Palace are beating Brentford away from home. That would be a big result for Palace, who I think are a better team than their recent results suggest. Crystal Palace are 1-0 up. 0-0 between Brighton and Fulham. Another draw for Fulham for Brighton on the download potentially. Chelsea, as we know, are losing 1-0 with 20 minutes to go. Everton are now beating Leeds in a massive game down near the bottom. Seamus Coleman with the goal there. Forest losing 1-0 to City, which is not a bad result for them considering they're not very good and Man City were always going to win. And a real surprise at Wolves. Bournemouth leading 1-0. Chelsea look disjointed like last season's Man United team. Potter has a difficult task in hand to reset the culture, says Neil. As he's an incredible player, says Santan. Away teams are doing really well today. You're absolutely spot on, Victor. They are. Really, really doing well. I mean, I tell you what, though. There's a question there from Axel that Chelsea need Osimhen. They should have just scored. Havertz is in. He should shoot. He cuts it back. They should still score. They don't. They just can't put the ball in the back of the net either. Brentford hasn't lost in 10 games, says Donna. Havertz is dreadful. Rest in peace to Christian Atsu, says Retro. Fly high, brother. Yeah, horrible news. Obviously coming in early this morning. Confirming what I think people feared. But, yeah, absolutely tragic. What do you think of Ronaldo now, says Saka? I love Ronaldo. He'll always be a legend to me, but I've got to be honest. When I see the clips of him scoring in Saudi Arabia and doing the shoo, I'm like, well, why wouldn't you do it for a start, of course? But it's, I don't know, it feels pantomime. I don't think he's at, what I mean, it's a pantomime league, isn't it? It's like the MLS. They're not, it's not real football. The standard is just, I don't even know what standard that would be. League One. It's I think the severity of how Ronaldo fell off. I didn't see that, and I'm not saying I'm the oracle, but some people did see it. Fair play, but I didn't see how he went from 18 goals in a horrific 18 Premier League goals, by the way, 18 Premier League goals in a horrific Man United side, our Player of the Year, to complete fall off. Like complete fall off. I don't know what caused that. Do you think it was just because he didn't have a pre-season and at 38 you can't afford to do that and he thought he could? But the fall off was just ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. And you know, it is what it is. He's done what's best for him and his family. You can't knock that. But I didn't expect him to. If someone had said to me in September that Cristiano Ronaldo would be scoring goals in the Saudi Arabian League in February, I'd have said you're having a bloody laugh. I might have agreed that he might leave, but I can't believe that Chelsea haven't scored there. Raheem Sterling heads it and needs to leave the rebound for someone to blast it in and hits it himself. Oh, if you're a Chelsea fan, you must be going mad. Osimhen going to Chelsea would ruin his career, says Billy. I think Varane is criminally underrated. I agree, Daniel. Out of curiosity, or have you tried getting into American sports? Do you like to watch on occasion? I'm American. Nolan, I watched Super Bowl. Was very good. Chelsea needs Lukaku back, Mark. That was from Jack. I genuinely do not know how Chelsea haven't scored at least one goal in this second half. I mean, they've been on a plate. On a plate. DC says, I'm just sending a super chat to laugh at Sterling and thoughts about Newcastle's lineup versus Liverpool, says Freddie Mercury. I'll have a look at that in a minute. I will have a look at that in a minute. But yeah, Sterling had a chance there, missed it, and then there's a Chelsea player behind him who's basically going to whack it in with a better finish. And Sterling just tries to do the impossible and score with the rebound. It's not clinical. I mean, what they've done enough in the second half to win the game, and yet they're still losing it. Let me just give you the lineups for Chelsea and for Liverpool and Newcastle. Thanks everyone who's tuning in, by the way. Make sure you subscribe. The Premier League never fails to surprise us, says Liam. Surprises are good in football, I think, in the general sense. I think, shocks are good. I mean, I'm sure Arsenal fans are praying that there's some miracle at City ground because it's only 1-0, but I just can't see it. Newcastle's lineup is Pope, Trippier, Shaw, Botman, Byrne, Longstaff, Joel Linton, Anderson, Almiron, Isaac, and St Maximin. And then Liverpool have gone with Alisson, Trent, Gomez, Van Dijk, Robertson, Henderson, Fabinho, Bjakitic, Salah, Nunez, Gakpo. I mean, the Liverpool team looks stronger on paper, but that's not how it works. Why do you keep twerking for Arsenal? Liam, I'm not even twerking for Arsenal. I don't know what that's all about. I watch football and get involved. I'm sorry you're a miserable twat who, has one team that you support and everything else makes you miserable. I enjoy football. So what? It's not looking good, bruv. It's not looking, bruv. What did Harry Potter say to Graham Potter? It's not looking good, bruv. There's a Chelsea player who's down quite bad here. I don't know who it is. I think it was a kick to the head or something. Is it Azpilicueta? Yeah, Azpilicueta's down. If football in Saudi Arabia is not real football, how does football in smaller nations improve and compete? People should just stop the focus on just Europe, says Akshay. Well, mate, I think you're being a bit over defensive here. I mean, the reality is the football in Saudi Arabia is crap, and it's not that good in the MLS, and it's not that good in China. And you raise a good point. How did they improve the standard of it? Well, bringing someone like Ronaldo in probably brings more exposure to it. You need better players, better coaches. Saudi Arabia beat Argentina in the World Cup. They deserve to do it. But it's only my opinion. If you think it's Premier League standard, you enjoy it, mate. He got absolutely booted in the face, did Azpilicueta there. And we're just waiting to see what's going to happen. Some people are saying it could be a red card. I don't know. Some things can happen by accident. D says, how are Chelsea this bad? Bayern lost today, says Nicholas. I mean, at the end of the day, you don't want players to be getting injured, but it kills the momentum for Chelsea as well. Still 15 minutes to go. Do you still rate Bella Kotchup, says Julian? Yeah, I think he's had a good game today. Apparently, we have got a goal for Brighton, but it might have been disallowed again. That's 3 goals. Their last 3 goals have been chalked off for offside then, isn't it? If Varane was at City, Liverpool or Arsenal, Sky would say he's the best centre-back in the league, says Daniel Kirk. Azpilicueta got booted in the chin, apparently. And Ronan says, Potter looks like he's aged 40 years. Pressure. The pressure. That's what it's all about. Stephen, thank you very much for your super chat. Disallowed for Brighton again. When's Broho back? I think they could do with him at Chelsea at the moment. They could do with something. Eamon Kelly says, do you think Potter's under pressure now? Yeah, I think he's under pressure even if they get a draw, and they haven't even got that at the moment. This shows that splashing money for players in a panic is the worst thing you can do. Over 300 million to lose against Southampton, says Liam. João Felix would have been a good signing for Arsenal, I agree. I'd have liked him at Man United as well. Clutch says it's painful as a Brighton fan. Well, I think you were robbed at at Palace last week. That would have been a big 3 points. It's, you know, draws aren't good. You know, I always have. I mean, it's not real life. It's FIFA, but I hate it on FIFA where you have 3 draws in a row because it's 3 points from 9, isn't it? You may as well have lost one of them, and you know, if Brighton draw 2 in a row, all right, you're unbeaten, but it's 2 points from 6, isn't it? Long break in this game. Azpilicueta caught in the face quite badly. I think he'll be going off. So, literally just had a message from a mate saying, I played the game. I played the game. I was asking him whether he'd watched Last of Us, and he said, yeah, I'm really enjoying it, and I've played the game. I've never played the game. I've never played Last of Us. So what? There's a lot of paramedics on the pitch for this Azpilicueta thing. I know we're all having a chat in the chat, but don't normally see that many paramedics on the pitch. Could have broken his jaw. If I don't, we haven't seen it, have we? No, I don't know whether anybody saw it. I mean, thankfully, he's getting all the medical attention he needs, which is, you know, one of the positives that we saw with Christian Eriksen in the Euros. How quickly medical attention is there for footballers, and these things do happen. I mean, there's no point pretending that it doesn't. Well, I think one of the worst injuries I ever saw on the pitch, and I might give a bit of a warning here, it's quite graphic, because it makes me, I'm going to still say it, because it happens, these things happens when you're playing football. I don't know whether they do it on goals anymore, but you know where this is going to go anyway now. You know, goals, when they put the net up, and I don't know whether they do it anymore, but they have hooks to put the net on, and was playing a game one Saturday, and the goalkeeper jumped up to tip the ball away, and his hand went up behind the bar, and as it came down, caught one of the hooks and ripped through his glove and through his hand. It did. To be fair, it didn't end up with stitches. It was just quite a nasty cut, but it was there was a lot of blood, and it was quite horrible. I don't think they have those hooks on there anymore, for that reason, but I think the worst injury in football I've ever seen, M&G, thanks, and I think I don't think it was on the telly, it was Coventry Man United, David Boost, his leg, and I think there's pictures of it, but I don't think the footage of it's out there anymore. And I remember there was some United players and Coventry players who were like crying and throwing up, and basically what happened is he had his leg planted, and I think it was McClare and Irwin went to tackle or slid in and basically caught his leg from both sides. Andre Gomez was bad as well. Aaron Ramsey was bad. But this is a significant amount of time. Forest have scored, apparently. That would be a cat amongst the pigeons. That would be a huge, huge shock. This isn't a drill. Forest have actually scored. There's a lot of people in the chat saying it, and I can confirm it's true. Forest have got a goal with 5 minutes to go against Man City. Daniel Cork says Shaw's was bad. Yeah, Luke Shaw's was terrible. It might be offside. There's some sort of review for an offside. Is it going to be given? I'm looking at the chat. I think it might be offside. I wouldn't get too excited. Oh, he's on. He's on. In the chat, he's onside and the goal is given. There we go. Nottingham Forest have equalised against Manchester City. Onside. Given. Thanks everyone in the chat, because a lot of people are obviously way ahead of other people on this. It's been given, and that is a massive result. If it stands, look, all I would say, if you're an Arsenal fan and as a Man United fan, this is a chance to close up on them. This is a bonus. This is not a place you would never expect Man City to be dropping points against Nottingham Forest. Not at all. Not at all. Could be a very significant day in the title race. If you watch the Arsenal Villa game with me at lunchtime, that stoppage time winner, fortuitous winner for Arsenal, gave them 3 points. If Man City were to drop, and ultimately there's still probably 10 minutes to go there, so that it probably won't happen. It's Chris Wood who scored it as well, of course. Oh, Woody! He's got some wood. Do you want a bit of wood, Pep? Do you want a bit of wood? Yeah, Chris Wood has scored. Wolves are back in the drop zone, says Peter Brown. Can they hold on? I won't be surprised if City get a winner, but look, who knows? So Chelsea are back playing now. Azpilicueta's gone off. Chalobah's come on. There'll probably be another 15 minutes in that game for Chelsea to try and get back into it. But I mean, obviously, best wishes for Azpilicueta. Didn't see what happened. A few of you in the chat did. And it looked like it was a bad impact to the face. Medical attention there. Is this the way to Amarillo? Slow sports news from Nabil. He says Forest have equalised. What? Everybody can't believe it. We didn't know that. Oh. How was that only a yellow card? Says Max. It was a red. I've not seen it, mate, so I can't comment on it. I can't. Chris Wood like a diamond. Please subscribe, by the way. Bottom right hand corner. We're on the road to 908,000. We're only 20 subscribers away. So please do subscribe. Bottom right hand corner. Welcome to That's Football. You're all welcome. It was a scissor kick to the head, says Ethan George. I mean, are we title contenders, Mark, if City result stays the same, says Warrior? Let's get that result staying the same before we even start talking about that. Exciting last few minutes anyway, that's for sure, in this great Premier League. Kevin De Bruyne is off for City apparently. Alvarez is on now. I still expect City to score. That was an absolute nailed-on win for them. Got a goal for Fulham, apparently. Just check. That'd be a big win for Fulham. If it is a goal for Fulham, you're absolutely correct. And what a... You've just got to... I mean, I feel a bit bad for Brighton, all the goals they're having disallowed, but technically they probably are offside. But... if Fulham go to Brighton and win, what a season they are having. It's absolutely incredible. They are amazing, Ashwin. They're absolutely unbelievable. Just unbelievable. What a success story they are. And I know the league table won't have updated just yet, but look at that. Add 3 points onto Fulham because it won't be on yet. 39 points puts them up to well, not above Spurs, but puts them up to joint 5th. That's incredible. I've played the game, and that I tell you what, Jeff, that's absolutely incredible. Absolutely fantastic. 1-0 to Fulham. I'm not doing Liverpool-Newcastle, Jordan. I would have done, but I did Arsenal-Villa because I struggled to do the half-5s because I have the Mark Goldbridge show on TalkSport. And I have to eat, and I have to do a bit of prep for it. So it's very difficult to go all day, if you know what I mean. That's what she said. But no, it is. So I've had to... I've had to give it a rest today. But I'll have an eye on it, and I will discuss it on That's Football on TalkSport. Nabil, of course. Sorry, I've added 3 points on when, as it stands, they had a point. City are drawing at the moment. Chelsea are losing to Southampton. Incredible stuff. Absolutely incredible. How long's left at Chelsea? I'd say probably 12 minutes. Maybe. Forest ground is roaring, but it'll be City who are scoring. That was rubbish. It will be City who are scoring because if anyone's going to score, it'll be City. Oh God, my stomach's rumbling here. I tell you that for free. Shine bright tonight, you and I. We're shone like diamonds in the sky. Can you do a setup tour? I will do one day. Do you think there'll be a late goal for Chelsea? There should have been. Doesn't mean there will be. Arsenal still have to play 3 away games at Man City, Liverpool and Newcastle. If Man City keep dropping 2 points like this, don't Man United have a chance? Man United just got to keep winning, SK. Keep winning and stay in the race. That's all we can do. 12 minutes has been added on at Chelsea, so there's plenty of time, but what can they do? Newcastle, Liverpool 1-1, I'm going to go for. Have a stretch, says Oliver. Thanks, pal. Do you think Potter will get sacked? I don't think it's the right thing to sack Potter. I think it's very, very wrong. But also, on the other hand, I think it's really, really bad to lose to Southampton at home with the players you've got, and Southampton don't even have a manager. So I agree with Rook. There's not really an excuse to lose those types of games. But I've said my piece on Potter. I think he should be given time. But I also, you know, I can't sit here. I'm not a Chelsea fan. I can't start telling Chelsea fans to back their manager when, you know, they're losing at home to Southampton. It's up to them. Even as a Madrid fan, I can say the problem is the best league by far. The Premier is the best league by far, says Alonso. Couldn't pay me enough to sit and watch Elche versus Espanyol. Atrocious. Yeah, and it's a shame. You know, it is a shame. The league should be better than that. It should. It's finished. Forest against City is finished. City draw. Get in. I'll wind people up on Twitter now. Where's my reactions? Here we go. You just gotta do it. That is a real shock. And if you think about it, and this does work, what I'm about to say, if you think about it, Arsenal basically drew with Man City on Wednesday. They didn't lose. And your brain's going, but they did, but they didn't. They drew. Because if they both drew on Wednesday and then they both won today, it's the same outcome. So, no, that's wrong. I've got that completely wrong. Because Man City have took 4 from their last year. Forget that. That didn't work. Oh, I made myself right twat there, didn't I? No, but what I'm saying is that Man City beating Arsenal away and then dropping points to Forest, that doesn't make that loss on Wednesday for Arsenal as bad, does it? City gained a point from it, that's all. So Arsenal are 2 points clear with a game in hand now, which is a huge boost for them. Of course, that game in hand, Brentford have got a goal as well. So as it stands in the Prem at the moment, Brentford have equalised right at the end. Probably 90 minutes plus 6. They've equalised against Crystal Palace to make it 1-1. Brighton are going to win away to Fulham. No, they're not. Fulham are going to win away to Brighton. Chelsea, as we know, are losing to Southampton. Everton have beaten Leeds. Huge result there. Bournemouth have beaten Wolves. What's going on? And Southampton could be beating Chelsea. Ridiculous results in the relegation battle. And of course, Nottingham Forest have drawn against Man City. Unbelievable stuff. What's going on? What's going on? The relegation battle looks very, very interesting. Especially if Southampton hold on here. As it stands at the moment, Southampton would be on 18 points. Leeds would be on 19 points. West Ham on 20. Bournemouth on 21. Everton on 21. Wolves on 23. Leicester on 24. And Forest on 25. Teams down the bottom are starting to motor. Crystal Palace potentially could start getting pulled into it. Maybe even Aston Villa. Fulham have won. Thanks, Jamie. This is a shocking result for Chelsea, though. Oh, God. I mean, it's mad. Chelsea have actually had the chances. I don't know how they haven't scored. I just genuinely do not know how they haven't scored. Mark, off topic, but who was your favourite Man United player growing up, says Graham. Beckham and Keane, really. Those two. West Ham are getting sucked in. I'd fancy West Ham to get a result against Spurs tomorrow, though. I think Spurs look pretty bad at the moment. Gotta love the Premier League. These results are pure chaos, says Cameron. Pull up the league table. I can pull up the league table for the top. You're gonna have to bear with me for the bottom. I don't think I've got the bottom, actually. It's not been loaded in. Typical. Would have been nice. I haven't got it. Chelsea to get relegated. Tell me where the next win's coming from for Chelsea at the moment. I mean, you look at those stats. Can't score goals. Still got 6 minutes to go, though. There's been a few shocks today. There has been a few shocks today, but that Man City result at the City Ground is very shocking. And I use the word very lightly. If I was to tell you that the way it went between Forest and Leicester and City was like this, 73% possession for Man City, 23 shots to 4, 6 on target to 1. The one shot on target they scored, Man City had 6. Apparently Erling Haaland missed a few sitters as well. That's a shocking result. Big win for Notts County, says Jimmy. Hey, Jimmy. Yeah, don't forget, tonight, 7:30, after all the football, Talk Sport. It's live on YouTube. You can get involved in the live chat there. But also, you can call in as well. It'll be live on the radio. The Mark Goldbridge Show. Really looking forward to it. I think we're going to get some interesting calls tonight. Might get some calls about the Man United takeover as well. But apparently Haaland missed 2 open goals. I've got a preview going up for the Leicester game actually on the United stand. That's what I was just checking out. That's going out at 5 o'clock. Man United have got to win tomorrow. If we win tomorrow, we go 3 points behind Man City. You know, you've got to be on that. You've got to be jumping on that. And look, if Man City can drop points at Forest, they can drop points anywhere. There is some. You know, Man City win. You know, they lose at City. They lose at Spurs. They beat Arsenal, and then they drop points at Forest. Don't tell me that Man City aren't vulnerable. They're just a little bit different this season. Daniel Kirk says, I quietly think top 4 is in the bag. It is probably in the bag, Daniel, because there's so many weird results going on that making ground on anybody is so difficult because there's so many weird results going on. You can't, you know, like look at Liverpool, right? Liverpool have got to make up a 9-point gap on Newcastle. So they've got to win tonight, and then they've got to win their game in hand, and then they've got to keep winning. And it's not easy in this league. I'm just looking at this. I mean, they're not going to do it, Chelsea, are they? They're not going to do it. That's what I want to look at. I mean, look at that. Look at that. 16 shots to 8. 5 on target. No goals. I mean, it's been defence against attack, and they can't score goals. Just cannot score goals. Mudryk is a massive waste of money. Average player from average leagues for huge money. The best Arsenal transfer ever, says Thomas. Thanks everyone who's watching, by the way. Make sure you subscribe. I don't know what's going on next week. Is there any football going on next week? Or is it a midweek off? Oh no, it's Champions League, isn't it? Oh, it's Liverpool, Real Madrid on Tuesday night, of course. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Wednesday night's a bit shit. Leipzig, Man City. I hate watching Man City. Although I'll enjoy it tonight. 1-1. 1-1. I'll have a bit of that, Pep. I'll have a bit of that. Football's booming at the moment, says the racing guy. Man United fan says 2-1 to Forest. They're still playing after the final whistle. Forest to kick the ball in the net. Chelsea spent 600 million in one season. That's more than Liverpool in 5 years of Klopp. So the question is, honestly, where will they finish? Somehow got to find a best 11, haven't they? I mean, I said that. The team changes every week. They haven't won a game this year, says Daniel Kirk. The team changes every week. There's 4 substitutions after an hour. They haven't got a best 11. They haven't got a rhythm. They haven't got a system. And say what you like about Southampton, but ultimately that's a massive win for them. And teamwork makes the dream work. Mark, I'm a Leeds fan. Do you think our board needs getting rid of, says Charlie Davies? Thank you very much. Chelsea I've done that from Nathan Allen. Chelsea haven't won a game, done that one. Thank you, Charlie. I mean, Leeds, look, that's a tough place for Leeds to go tonight. 1-0, Everton, Sean Dyche, difficult place at Goodison Park to go. Not surprised that you lost. But there's been some shocking results today. I mean, where do you start? Bournemouth beating Wolves is a shock. Forest drawing with Man City is the biggest shock of the day. You'd have thought the biggest shock of the day would be Southampton beating Chelsea, but it's not. It's not. It's this Man City result is massive. Arsenal were 2-2 going into stoppage time and win 4-2. So many shocks. But this is a huge one for Chelsea. And I've got to say, if you're losing to Southampton at home, you've got a problem. It doesn't matter who you are, you've got a problem. Explain that to me, because they've had the chances. But there it is. It's over. Could we see all the promoted teams stay up this season? Not sure when that last happened. It's a threefold path. The relegation battle is brilliant. Can I just say thanks everyone for watching everything today. I'm back on YouTube at 7:30 on the Talk Sport channel for the Goldbridge call-in, and I'm really hoping that some of you are going to call in and have your say on the sale of Manchester United to Qatar, if it's going to happen. I don't really care where your stance is. I'd love to get people calling in who are not United fans, because I think it'd be interesting for the show. But we're back live at 7:30 for that. Enjoy Newcastle Liverpool if you're going to watch that. I'm going to go and get myself some food because I'm starving, and I'll speak to you all later. Also, in between, I've just put the preview up on the United stand for the Leicester game, so that's just gone up 5 minutes ago. So if you're excited about United closing the gap on Man City, check out my preview for the Leicester game tomorrow, which is on tomorrow. Speak to you all in a bit.